we will now move to the Q&A part, and we already received some of the questions beforehand during the registration. So I would like to just start directly with one of the questions and have Thomas answer it for us. So, do any companies already do online first, and if so, which ones? Thomas, could you please comment on that?
Yeah, that was one of the questions that we already received beforehand, and it is very common actually online first in the sustainability and the CR, corporate responsibility area. Often this is done in conjunction with a glossy summary brochure rather than a full-fledged print version. Examples that I know are in the UK, for example, Legal & General. They do online first with their CR reports. In Germany, examples include SAP, Allianz, Deutsche Post, Linde, of course, and Wacker, and also the Merck pharmaceutical companies. These examples I already showed to you. In the annual reporting space, examples include reports from Ordina and Triodos in the Netherlands, Entergy in the US, and Rewe and Versatel in Germany. Or, for example, also a good example is Geberit and Migros from Switzerland.
Okay, thank you. Then we can move on to the next question, but I see there is a question coming in from one of the listeners, from one of our clients. I will just read it out. Is it better for the company to use a CMS or to send the text as doc files, which is then edited by nexxar?
Yeah, well, this question actually is also a question on the short term, on the long term. In my point of view, on the long run, the CMS will certainly take control over the editing because it's far more efficient to use the CMS for editing. That's what CMS, content managing systems, are for. Everybody can access and you can amend yourself. You have your user rights. And also the changing of perspective will only happen if you start to work within the CMS. If you continue to send back and forth doc files that have to be edited and changed for the web and included into the web, this of course will not change perception. So that this I think is also a crucial thing on the long run. So only if you really switch to adopting the web as a real source for the generation, you will benefit from all the merits that an online first approach is offering to you. But yes, of course, I mean the question also aims for currently a lot of companies still prefer to use Word files in the beginning for content generation. And of course, this is also because of the history. So people are used to exchanging Word files or PDFs, but I'm sure this will change over time.
Thank you very much. I can see another question coming in. Also, yeah, please keep sharing your thoughts with us once again via the chat function on the left side of the screen, which you already do. So I will read out the next question from our listeners. Is there an online first trial to experience the CMS tools available?
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. We do have a trial version. We have a simple generic content that is already hosted within our CMS, and we can of course share login details for that. For that, please send us your contact details, and we are happy to do that and send you login details for that. Or if you prefer, we can also drive you through and have a quick personal presentation either on over the phone, or if it's possible, we can also have a face-to-face meeting, which we are very happy to do. Any more questions, please?
Yes. Well, maybe I will go back to one of the questions we received during the registration. Just in the meantime, maybe another question will appear. Or as right now, for example, a question from Munich. Are changes in the text tracked with the CMS?
Yes, that is one of the things that are introduced quite newly into our CMS. We're working on what we call is version control. So you can you cannot exactly see the changes that are tracked like in a Word file where you have the marking up of the space, but you have a version control, so you can see on a separate CMS page, you can see what actually has changed on the site and at what time, and then you can also decide if you want to go back and undo the changes that have been happening.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you very much. And to read out a question from the registration that might be interesting for everybody, look at the online first examples. I do not see a big difference to a print-led approach. It was what one of our clients said. So Thomas, can you maybe talk a bit about the difference between the online first approach and the print-led approach?
Yeah, well, it's a very comprehensible observation and a very valid point. So if you look at online reports, it is still difficult to see what exactly is different in the wording or difference in the approach. It does not change, to summing up, it does not change instantly. So the approach to reporting is something that takes time. A lot of people are involved into a reporting process, and changes will only happen if the mindset of the people are changing. At what speed and to what extent this shift is happening depends very much on the people that are involved. Some people start right away to write and edit the text into a CMS. Others still use the Word documents to circulate, as we already had in a previous question. So that is very much depending on your personal needs and what you like to use. Where you can see the shift is already happening is in areas like the navigation structure and the interactive elements. So if you really look into an online first report, you can see there are less first level entries, for example. The content on the different navigation entries are well balanced and more equally spread, and also the placement on screen is much better. The image crops and also the screenability. This is all very much different from the pure print conversion, as we would say. And of course, regulatory requirements also still play a huge role. So financial tables, for example, you can't make them best fit for online because they are certainly set and laid out for regulatory requirements.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe one more question, and in the meantime, we'll see if we receive more questions. So another question from the registration. How good is the quality of the printed report?
Yeah, to what extent the printed report is glossy or not depends very much on your personal needs or the needs of your stakeholders and groups that you want to address. And of course, is also a cost issue. So some pages might be designed additionally offline. You can do that, like the cover or the divider pages for the print. But of course, this adds a lot of cost and complexity to the project. All the design limitations for the automated process, there is inflow like page breaks or multi-column. This, of course, is a limitation. When you focus on an automated process, you have to take those limitations. At the end, you need to ask yourself to what extent you're willing to compromise on the look and feel of the print report. If you look for a fully fledged print version, where everything is exactly the same as with an InDesign file, then the automated generation will not be up to your expectations, I would say.
Okay, and I see one more question coming in from our audience, which is, are other nexxar modules compatible with the CMS? I assume with nexxar modules you mean actual features that nexxar provides?
Yeah, well, I assume, I don't know exactly what you mean with, okay, yeah, modules like the chart generator. All these features and all these special interactive elements that we add into the online reports are all implemented within exactly the CMS. So you can access those modules and you can access those elements in the CMS as well, and they are integrated there as well. So that is all done from the same source. The Online First CMS is actually the opening up of our in-house working tool for the clients to be used there. So that is all integrated, and you can use and look and change also. Okay, I see here another question, Alexandra. I take over here. The question about data security, which is always very important, of course. How secure is the online CMS? We are using a secure site, so everything that is on the CMS is on HTTPS. It's the same as banking uses. So, for example, if you're looking at the URL that is currently in use for any meeting that you're attending, that's also a secure site. So there is a secure protocol that is in place there. And what we also do is, in the time when the content is not public yet in the public domain, we restrict the usage of the CMS to an IP range. So if the IP address of computer is known, and that should be within your company, then we can limit the access to the CMS to exactly these IPs that should be available. Sorry, looking for the words. Is that sufficient for as an answer? Okay. Yes. Good. Thank you. Alexandra, can you pick up another question from our previously filed ones?
Yeah, of course. So I still have a few ones. So, for example, one of them being, what is the cost of Online First, or what are the costs approximately?
Yeah, the costs depend on, of course, on the required services for the content consulting. Do you need special content consulting for web purposes, or do you want to do that with a different agency or in-house, or do you have already experience on that? But that's a big question about content consulting. Another one is about editing. Who should do the editing? Do you do that yourself? Do you want to have an editor here at nexxar working for you? Also, creative concept, feature set. All these are elements, of course, that have to be clarified in advance. But as a rule of thumb, the budget will range between 50 and 100,000 euros in the first year, and in the second and third years after that, the costs will come down significantly, because you can use all the setup. The CMS is already shaped to the different needs, and all the framework can be reused, of course.
Okay, great. Thank you, Thomas. Is there another question from the audience right now, or shall I proceed with questions that we had beforehand? Maybe just one more second. Okay, so let's just proceed with a different question then. I still have some. We still need to provide a print version of the annual report, so what's the point of doing Online First?
Yeah, this question goes, I would say, into the same direction as some of the previous ones, because the shift in focus is actually what matters most. So Online First is, on one hand, saving time and money because of the efficiency, but it's also the different focus that you're taking with the Online First approach. It aims for a more efficient allocation of your investment. It gets rid of the stranded costs like the typesetting and reduces the overhead. But then, at the other hand, it's better fitting for the online environment, and that's the two main purposes of Online First. On the one hand, it's reduction of costs. On the other hand, it's shifting focus for being more web savvy and more web accessible. And on the long run, I would say that the print side will have to cope with the compromises. And if you still provide the print version and send out and mail this print version, it might just be a less fancy inside document with a nice and very bespoke cover. So this will be more focused for an online audience than for the print audience. That's what I would summarize.
Okay, thank you once again. At the moment, no questions are coming in, so maybe we can proceed with another one. How do you handle ancillary documentation and mailing of the report?
Yeah, the ancillary documents are actually, there is not much change there. Of course, once the web publication channel is set up for your corporate style guide and for design and everything, you can then, of course, use this setup also for any ancillary documents like the AGM notice or a proxy form. But if you want to have all related work carried out by the same hand, we are happy to do this, of course, as well. These documents usually are not in demand through your digital audience as such. So it is also an option to rely back to a more simply Word or text-based format that you can then do in-house, or we can do that for you as well. But for the mailing, which is also, I think, one of the part of the question that has been asked beforehand, mailing and also the printing of these documents, for that we have arrangements in place with our partner printers. They are also handling mailing, and wherever required, that can be done as well.
Okay.
So I think if there are no more questions coming in, Alexandra, can you see any more questions? Is there any email questions that have been through?
No, I can see no more questions coming in, also no email. So thank you very much for participating. And thank you very much for staying with us. Please remember that there will be a recording of the webinar available, plus also additional documents for download. And of course, as soon as everything is online, we will send out an email to all the to our audience, to everybody who registered, and we will send you a link so you know where to download or re-listen or forward the recording of the webinar. For more information, you can also always contact your corresponding project manager at nexxar or me and Thomas, depending on who you want to speak with. We're here for you. So thank you very much once again. I hope you could hear us quite well, and yeah, see you next time.
Thank you all, also from my side, and yeah, hopefully we'll see each other soon. We are going out for presentations in the next weeks, and I'm traveling to Spain, to the Netherlands, to France, to the UK. I'm also planning to go to Germany, of course, and Italy. So if you're interested to meet up with me or Alexandra or anyone else, we are happy to have a face-to-face meeting and to explain more in a personal meeting if you like. Thank you and have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.